want it to be on me then. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Teen Quarantine. We are super excited to have you today. We have a special guest from our teen acting class, Elijah. We are super excited. He and I were just talking in class just about some of the struggles and figuring out for ourselves our motivation. So super excited to have you here today, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Doing good?
hmm
So let's start by just fill me in right now on where you're at with life. We talked a little bit last night in class, but love to hear that and let the audience hear kind of where you're at.
Uh, Everything's going good. It's just it's very uneventful in quarantine. Just sitting there.
Uneventful. So tell me about that. What do you mean by that? Like uneventful? Like there's just not much to do, or
Not much to do. I mean, there I do stuff, but it's like not as exciting as other things I would be doing if I was like my regular life.
gotcha. So we talked last night a little bit about just acting in general, right? And wanting to be an actor and what that might look like. Um, So you wanted to focus on motivating yourself more to do your monologue, and it stemmed, by the way, from your truth. So I want to just talk about how awesome that is. You started off, Eli, by just going, I was like, hey, what have we done on the work? And you're like, haven't really,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you did. And here's the thing, that is such a huge deal. It's such a huge deal to be willing to admit, like, oh, I haven't done the work, because that's when somebody can go, all right, well, what can we do? So when you walk into something and pretend like you're not where you are, then the person who's coaching you or helping you can't help you anymore. Like they just can't, right? So, so that's what opened up this whole conversation. Was just then it went, okay, why not, right?
hmm
So, so let's question into some of that. We talked a little bit last night, but let's get a little deeper into that. So right now for you, what things are in your normal day? Like what's your schedule like?
Um, Usually just laying in bed and on my phone, or I'm every other day I'm like taking the dogs on a walk with my parents and I'm on my longboard riding around, and I just it's a lot of work doing my schoolwork, and just I mean I do get breaks by like laying on my bed and on my phone and going out for a walk, but it's a lot of work for me, more than I'm used to.
Gotcha. So what do you used to that's changed? Like what are some of the new things for you?
Being at home and doing my work, because a lot of my classes is just like, here's the work, here's a little thing, okay, bye, that's the end of the class.
Mm-hmm.
And it's harder because like if when you're in school it's easier, I feel like it's easier to raise your hand than message a teacher.
Sure, that totally. There's that in-person, feel for that. Whereas message, you got to figure out exactly what you're going to say, how you're going to say it. And so I think that comes down to just starting to get past this. What is different? So when you raise your hand and you get to do that, what do you feel there? Like what is it about that that makes it easier for you? Do you think?
Because it's more like on the spot, because like, oh, I have a question, and then you sometimes forget about it, but like it feel like I'd forget about it more likely. I'd be more likely to forget about it
So
if I was just
So if you're watching back, basically, like you won't have that moment where you remember when you finish your video or finish whatever you're watching from the class. Is that right? Okay. Have you tried taking notes during the class?
uh I mean, I could be doing that, but
That might help. I mean, because then at the end, you go through and you go, hey, here were my questions. I know for me, dude, trying to like remember back, it's super hard. I have a really hard time with that. So a lot of times I will jot things down as I go, because otherwise I just won't remember. Like I just won't. If I don't put something in my calendar or put something down, it ain't happening. Like I'm gonna forget about it. And so that, as far as, because we are in this world right now, so let's look at these little ways that we can take off as much stress as possible. And it doesn't fix it, it doesn't bring back the hand raise and bring back the things that we're used to, but it is a way to just adapt while we need to, in ways that might help you take off some of that stress. Okay, so I would recommend sort of starting there, and it kind of just depends on what the class is, if it's a video or whatever. Like, and the other thing is, I would not be afraid to ask questions, like, at all. And again, everything we're doing so far has come down to why. So we just found the why for the hand, and then figured out one way that we can create a solution, right? So now if we continue into the same idea and we go into the why for questions, why is it that we wouldn't feel comfortable asking a question? What's one reason?
Because you might feel like, oh, I feel kind of dumb because I don't get it, but you're just being self-conscious about yourself. Yeah.
Absolutely. Does that happen with you, or is it more just the hand thing?
Uh, it it happens with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I am 30 years old, my friend, and I'm still asking questions. I will ask questions until the day I die. And that was taught to me by my mentor, Matt Deering. The smartest person in the room asks questions. That's what they do. Seriously. And so that's how you get smarter. So I talked to someone about this actually just, I think it was yesterday or day before, in theirs. Like, we cannot compare ourselves to somebody else. We cannot, ever. Because, and it's a beautiful thing, we are all different. Every single one of us. So I look at, like, the world, and I look at the people in my class and the people around me. It's clear that we all have different personalities, different ideas. We were created differently. So because of that reason, I should never compare myself to where somebody else would know something or not know something. But you do have to compare yourself to somebody. Can you guess who that might be?
Your mentor.
Yourself.
Yourself.
Yourself. Your mentor, cool, but they mess up too. Like, my mentors will be the first to tell me, Matt will be the first to tell me, like, your mentors will make mistakes too. And this is, I think, a mistake a lot of young teens make, especially. Like, I talk with people who get in youth groups and different areas, and, like, their biggest struggle is, this happened with my brother. We had a friend and he's a good friend of mine, and he was one of the pastors, and it was hard on Joey because after a year he moved away to somewhere else to minister somewhere else. And that was hard on him because Joey at that time had put a lot of faith in that person, right? And the truth is, that guy, Michael Baker, he's an awesome dude. He was doing what's best for his family and where God was leading him. And it's amazing, and his family's so happy, and he's doing great things out there. But because unintentionally, accidentally, faith was put in a person and not in God in that situation, then it became one of those things where it was like, disappointed, right? Your mentors, no matter who they are, your parents, everyone, they're going to disappoint you because they're human. They're human. And so in the same way, like, for you, don't compare yourself to anybody else except for yourself. So you know what you're capable of. You know where you need to grow and not grow, and that's where the questions come in. Because the best way to grow is for you to go, all right, honestly, I need help here. I don't understand this. Help me out. I don't care if you're the guy that asked 20 questions and the teacher's like, this kid keeps asking questions. Well, that's your job, is to answer them, okay? Like, literally, that's their job. And I'll tell you, from a teacher perspective, we love when students ask questions. Love it. Because from a teacher perspective, what do you think that tells me?
That they want to learn.
That's right.
No.
That's right. And that's the students that we talk about. We're like, see, Eli's always pushing himself. He's always asking questions. He's always wanting to grow. Like, no teacher is going like, Eli can't figure out problem number 5. Like, it's just not happening, right? So these are all things that we create. And so if you could start to realize that, then that will solve that question problem and then make a school just a little less stressful. Okay? So what else in your life right now is sort of a little different?
not being able to hang out with my friends at all or talk to them.
Okay.
Because
Go
the
ahead.
only way I could talk to my friends is like on a Zoom class, and I like text them.
Okay. So just in class, you guys do Zoom and then you text each other?
Well, no, sometimes after the class, we just go into a different Zoom
Okay.
and hang
And
out.
usually right after class, though?
Not always. It's just some random times.
Okay. So how often were you hanging out with your friends before?
Um, Basically every weekend they'd come and spend the night.
Okay. So it's usually the weekend time.
Mm-hmm. But
Okay.
all during school we'd hang out too.
Right. Okay. So right now, Zoom call, how often would you say you guys do something like that?
Um, like two times a week.
Okay. 2, 3 times a week. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, you should make it a part of every day. Okay, so we're talking about little things that sound, honestly, when I give them to you a little bit, it's gonna sound like, wait a second, you're giving me more stuff to do, Brian. Well, yeah, I am. But if you schedule things right and plan things right, your spirit will be lifted and you will be more joyful and more excited to do all your things. Therefore, you will get them done better and faster. So you take schoolwork, you'll get excited about doing schoolwork because you know when you finish your schoolwork and finish it right, you get to go hang out with your friends. And yes, hanging out looks different. So there are leaders and followers, Eli, in this world. And anyone can be a leader. Anybody. Anybody. I don't care what your circumstance is or where you came from. Like, everybody in this world has the potential to be a leader. And I think you are one. Okay? Like I said, everybody can be one. So here's what that looks like. That looks like you creating a Zoom link. That looks like you creating one. You figure out the time that works in your schedule. Ask your friends, what's your schedule usually like? How many of you usually hang out?
Um, well, sometimes I like post it on my Snapchat story, and then some people come in, but like it's usually like two or three.
Okay. So you got 2 or 3, okay? Let's say that builds. Let's say there's like 5 or 6 eventually, right? But even if there wasn't, okay? You've got 5 or 6. Then all of a sudden, you've decided I'm going to meet with some friends every single day at 6 o'clock for a half hour. Okay? Gonna make that happen. One day you have all 5 or 6 on. One day it's you and one other dude. But you're hanging out, okay? And you're making hanging out, which was a part of your daily routine, something very important to you, something you do every day still. And somebody's got to lead that. Somebody's got to lead that. And I know you want to do it. I know you want to hang out with your friends. So why not just do it? Why not just create the link? And you could throw it on your Snapchat. And honestly, Eli, it could become a very cool thing with your friends where like everybody knows that we hang out at 6 o'clock with Eli. Whoever wants to hang out at whatever that time is. And again, literally, dude, if nobody shows up, then you just hang out with yourself for a half hour. But people know it's on your Snap link. It's on this thing like that. This is the time. Matt does his mornings with Matt every morning, 7 a.m. Every morning, 7 a.m. Everybody knows what Matt's doing at 7 a.m. Everybody knows last night at 6 o'clock, we're in class. Like, sometimes 6 of you show up, sometimes 12, some of you 2. But guess what? I'm going to be there either way.
Mm-hmm.
So you do that, and now you fulfilling school's going to feel a little better. You're now filling your friend bucket. Again, it looks different, but you're filling it up. And you could think of all kinds of, dude, I'm telling you, so many cool ways that you guys could do things together over video. Like, it's a whole new platform. Like, I know there's, like, other apps that have games in them. Like, there's, like, all kinds of things. Like, you guys can just talk, like, whatever. And get creative. Be a leader. And then now, all of a sudden, that part of your life that you're missing is still there. It just looks a little different right now. But it's not just only there 3 days a week. That make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. So now we'll go to number 3. Okay. Let's talk about acting. Let's jump into that a little bit. So I know that you're newer to acting. So tell me, let's go from the beginning since we're diving into why. What made you want to do it? What made you want to like walk in and start?
Well, first it was like, oh, it's like a thing. Like when people start modeling, they go to acting,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how it usually goes. And I went for that, and that was the main reason I started. And I, it's like a reason. The reason I want to now is that, and it's fun. Acting is fun.
Okay, cool. So beforehand, you'd been doing some modeling, is that right?
Mhm.
Okay. So then you decide, okay, maybe I'll try some acting. So you get in, it's fun. What's fun about it?
The fact that you get to interact with the people. I like interacting with the people in class, and like having that 5 minutes after class talking to them, and
Mm-hmm.
like we are talking about how well everyone did.
Dude, that's like one of my favorite things. Like when we were restructuring our online program and figuring out what it was look like, I was adamant about that. It's like we've got to make sure whatever we do, we schedule in time where we can just hang, you know, or we can just
Mhm.
connect and do that. So that's so cool to hear. So you're working a dramatic piece. You know, we're starting to do some of that together, and we talked yesterday about trying to find the why behind like acting and honestly behind life. And so I know it's only been a day. Have you given any thought to it yet so far?
um Not much. I've just thought about thinking about it.
Okay, thought about thinking about it. I've been there. Okay. So let's dive into that a little bit. Let's see if we can get into something. Okay. So when it comes to acting, you say you love being around the people, you love doing it. When you're performing, what is it about performing specifically?
It's just it's the fact that people get to hear it, and I get to be that character and have fun with it.
So you get to tell somebody's story, is essentially what you're saying, right?
Hmm.
That's so powerful. So now, if we get into this deeper, going into whys here, right? You get the opportunity to tell someone's story and let it be heard. That's so far beyond you, like beyond your life. It's serving somebody else, it's serving others. So I know in my life, the thing that gets me going and gets me out of bed is service, is serving in some way, shape, or form. And people, by the way, all the time, they get paid to serve. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? So you are serving in a certain capacity. You are serving by giving someone a story that they need to hear. And so if we can wrap our mind around that why, the fact that it's your responsibility to tell this story. I love doing that. I love playing characters. It's my responsibility as an actor to do that. Why? Because this story needs to be told. This story matters. So this specifically is talking about per piece, every piece that you do. And then we'll keep inceptioning this in and get deeper. But let's talk about the monologue you have right now. Why does this monologue from the Breakfast Club need to be heard?
It just like teaches you that you don't, it's kind of hard.
Think on it for a sec. And it's okay, remember, to ask questions and to think. Think same thing. Take your time. Find your answer.
Hmm.
I'm going to ask you some questions, okay? That I think might help. What's it about?
It's about Andy bullying a kid, and he's feeling bad about hurting him. And
So you play the bully?
hmm
Why would you want to play a bully? What's the bully feeling?
bully's feeling regret about bullying the
Interesting.
kid
Why?
because he knows he caused some pain, and he just did it for his father's pleasure.
So he didn't want to do it.
Not really.
Do you think there are people out there who are bullying that don't want to be bullying?
Yeah, probably.
I guarantee it. Guarantee it. Now, they shouldn't be bullying. Bullying's a serious problem. Serious problem. But I'll tell you, a lot of times the people who were bullies have something going on in their life that you have no idea. It's usually something really, really troubling, really struggle, like they're going through something and they don't know how to deal. So they deal in the way they know how. In your character's instance, their dad has put so much pressure on them always to literally do that. Bullying in that household was glorified as a cool thing. If you're cool, that's what you do. And it's your own dad telling you that in this story. Well, we're dealing with a lot of things here. Now you're speaking to people who might be going through that. You're speaking to anyone who's struggling with a dad thing, like who literally like feels like they've been put a lot of pressure on them. Like pressure. Anybody, you ever felt pressure?
Mm-hmm.
This is a kid who's gone through pressure and has finally decided he's not going to let the pressure win. That's a powerful story to tell. And any one of those is something you can cling yourself to as an actor, as a person, and go, you know what? I need to do the work every day because that story's got to be heard. Somebody's got to hear it. And we're moving online. So it's like, who knows who's going to see it? Somebody sees that and goes, like they might be crying from home for all you know. And it's your responsibility to do that work so that that's the case. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be an actor to tell stories.
Tell the stories.
So then the next question, and this is honestly, we can't get to all of it on the show, that you can start asking yourself is, what kind of stories? What do you resonate with? What matters to you? So I just finished, it was last year, did a project called My Secret War, and it was about refugees, and it was the person who wrote it had dealt with that and been connected to that issue. And when I picked up the script, I could feel it through the script. I could feel it, right? And I was like, okay, I got to do this project, you know? And it's this amazing film about that whole idea, and I did so much work on that. I did so much work. I worked at accent. I did all kinds of work on the lines. Well, the reason I was able to is because I was able to wrap my mind around how important the story was and what an impact it could have for other people. And so, Eli, I think you have an amazing heart. I really do. Like, I think you have this great heart. And so I think a big why for you is going to be connecting into the impact you can have, the amount of people you can change, and who do you want to change? Like, those are the questions I want to start rattling with and figuring out, and they'll change over time. You'll figure out different things. I am now a advocate for amputees. That wasn't the case 6 years ago. Like, wasn't. Like, things change in life, and you start becoming passionate about new things, and you'll figure out what you love and what you care about, and what stories you want to bring to light based on what you're dealing with. Cool, man. So, do you have any other questions kind of to go through? Any thoughts?
Not really.
Yeah, I know our main thing was dealing with that why and sort of getting into that. How you feeling?
I'm feeling better about it.
Okay. Where are your struggles still?
Like figuring I can't really think right now.
Take your time, dude. Trust yourself. Be willing to say the wrong thing.
I don't really have any questions.
Okay. So here are our action items, all right? We're starting with the friends. Got to get that done. Can you do that?
Yeah, I'll do that.
So every day, you decide the time, you figure it out. You're going to do that every single day. You're going to make that happen. For the school, when you got a question, you have to answer it. Have to. It's not a choice. We go back into the why. You want to grow. You want to get better. The format's different, and you said it yourself. If I was in class, I would raise my hand. Well, this is the virtual hand race.
Hmm.
So take notes if you need to as you're going along. Pause the video if you can. I don't know if you can, but like take little notes and then ask questions on all those notes at the end, and don't be fearful of that. And it's going to take so much pressure off you in that way. And then the last thing, and we didn't talk about this, but this just came to me. It's something I think would really benefit you. I talk a lot about journaling. Do you have a journal?
I have a lot of notebooks like these,
Okay. Is that do
but
you
I
journal
could.
in them?
No, I really don't. I don't really care for writing, but I would
Okay.
want to.
Tell me about that.
Not caring for writing.
Yeah, you don't like writing at all, or
I just I feel like I have ideas. I just can't get it down.
dude, I feel you. I feel you. So I was struggling with this for the longest time, like just writing something, and like I would sit and stare at a paper, like I'm pretending right now, forever, like just staring at a like blank page, going like I gotta write something, and nothing, right? And Matt gave me this advice, and it stuck with me. And that's if you want to start writing, just sit down and just write something. Write something. So like if all you can muster today is, dear Eli, today sucked. I hope tomorrow's better. Good night. If that's all you do, or hey Eli, today was great. I really enjoyed going out and doing this, and the Zoom call that I did with my friends was like this, and whatever. And you get inspired and you write right. Cool. But take the pressure away from being a certain length or being a certain thing, and just say, hey, I'm going to write every single day. That's it. So it could be as simple as a sentence. It could be, I'm sitting down right now, Eli, and I cannot write. My brain isn't working. Good night. And you'll come back and you'll laugh at that later, but you'll have a consistency of writing. And I think you'll be surprised. The point of this is I want you to just journal how the day went. So end of the day, you sort of take a reflection, and it's going to help you hold yourself accountable. And you should, because it's kind of like just writing down the stuff you did. So you'll literally be like, hey, Eli, this morning you slept in 3 hours. What the heck, man? Then instead of going straight to homework, you went and had 6 ice cream sandwiches. What? Like, no, I don't know. Like, you just like list things out. And here's what's cool about that. You do that. Let's say you had the ice cream sandwich day 3 days in a row. And like day 4, you're like, I'm feeling depressed. I can't figure out why. And then you look back a couple days, you're like, I gotta stop eating these ice cream sandwiches. Like,
Yeah,
you'll be able
probably
to.
should.
I'm not gonna, so you don't have to. But you'll be able to find the source, is my point, right? So you'll be able to track that and go through and go, oh man, I was feeling really good on all these days. What was I doing? Okay, this is it, right? And so that's the last thing I'll leave you with. So we'll do those things, and I think it's going to help you out a lot. And keep thinking about your whys. Keep finding those whys, because if you can find a deep why, then everything else just falls into place. Like ours over here is to be a light. It's as simple as that. Be a light. With everybody we meet, with everything we do, let's be a light. Let's make a difference in people's lives. That's what our mission is. So it gets me up early in the morning and keeps me out late at night working, because I know that we can make an impact. I believe in that. I believe it in my heart. And so since I know my why, since I know my mission, we have a mission over here that I can just do, even when I don't want to. Because sometimes you just don't want to, right? So
Hmm.
take your time to really work that why, and we'll see what that can do for you. I'd love to check in with that with you on class. And work super hard on your monologue this week. Like super hard. You have, 6 days now, right? Until class? Is that
Yeah.
right? That's a lot of time. It's a lot of time. I'll close you with this, okay? My scene that I had for this master class, because I do acting too. I take the master class here at the acting school with Matt. And the scene was totally changed. We had to rewrite it around the internet, around being on a phone call. the week before class, like a little before a week, and we rewrote it, and then I had just finished getting memorized, dude. Like, just finished. I was like, ugh. And so I was like, all right, I'll rememorize this new one, and I had a hard time with it, and I got through it, and then we got there, and we performed on Thursday, and we had done it wrong. So I had to take out my rewrites and go back to the original minus a few little tweaks. Well, stayed up all night that next night. We stayed up for 6 hours and rehearsed with my partner. And we got it down. And it was a lot of work, but we cared about it. We cared about it enough to make that happen. So you've got 6 whole days here. I guarantee you, if you start really reflecting on who this character is and diving into him and the different emotions that he can experience, which is something we talked about. Like, he was going through so much. You could write out thoughts for each part. You are going to impact the class next week, guaranteed. And all you have to do is it could be like as much time as you can, but make sure every single day you put it in. You don't go a single day until class where you don't put in part of your day on your monologue. Okay?
Okay.
Cool, man. Not so scary, right? Awesome. Well, dude, I'm so thankful for you. Thankful that you are in our program, and honestly, like, I'm proud of you. Very proud of you. You came in and fresh into this like new program where we're online and doing this stuff, and you're not making excuses. There's a lot of people who are not taking class anymore because it's online. Cool. Not judging them. Everybody can make their own choice. But for those who are, like yourself, like the other students in class, you're leveling up. They're staying here. Facts. Joey Sweeney facts. It's just the way it is. So keep growing. Keep working on your stuff. I'm really proud of you. And I'm excited to hear about how this is going next week in Monday's class.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eli.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. All right, thank you guys for another episode of Teen Quarantine. We will be back tomorrow. Make sure to tune in, subscribe, like, comment. We are here, again, every single day. And if you're interested in coming on the show, reach out. We would love to have you. Thank you, and have a blessed day.